right, this is Colorful Foresight where we intuitively connect from within. And it's woo woo time where we connect our woo woo into our mundane living. Hello, this is part 2 of Learning Tarot Miracles. So you can see all the cards up there. So last week we did part 1, which from the Major Arcana of 0, the Fool, to 11. So Gerald and I made the intention of how could we see miracle? We're going to ask our spirit guide, and you guys are going to connect with us and share with us what you feel. So we created the intention to how could each card be seen as a miracle? So we're going to continue with 12 to 21. And just wanted to quickly say hi to everybody in here.
Hello,
Barbara.
everybody.
Go ahead.
Yes.
We got Madam, Barbara, Lottie, and hello. So because and Abella, Akela.
Aquila B24, yes.
Mm.
Hello, yes. It's
Yeah.
good to see you. It's good to see everybody. Thank you for being here. And we are here because you let us know during the live that this is something that you were curious about. So we invite you to share your thoughts on where you see miracles in these major arcana, the major arcana cards.
And because we do want to hear your feedback, know that while we're talking about each card, already have in your head and type it up ahead of time. So when I ask people like, okay, what you think, you already have it ready because your contribution matters. And also because you're in here, you're part of the collective that's creating this. So what I didn't get the chance to share with Gerald beforehand is the last card we did was the Justice card, was the number 11. And we were like, and I will put in the description of the week 1, but basically just Google Tarot Stash and Learning Tarot Part 1. So we had the Justice and we were talking whatever we were talking, but on another day I did a recap of it. So I had a guest, somebody in a comment. And what happened is I was trying to add some context, which we may do in another video, because all we're focusing is on a major arcana, but I brought out the 2 cards. And the 2 cards that came with it was the Ace of Swords and the 4 of Cups, which is funny because when we did a miracle video over a year ago, we discovered this could be seen as how many times we have opportunity given, which could even be like a miracle, but we're not paying attention to it because we're looking at this, right? So under this contact with the Justice, which I couldn't kind of get, but it's kind of a judge cannot be biased. A judge cannot be biased. So if you have the ability not to be biased, think of it when you're a reader. Because a lot of time my stuff comes in a way. Like politics is kind of hard for me to do because I'm too involved in it. So I never got to see that this could be a bias card. If you have the ability to look beyond your bias, which is what a true judge is supposed to do. So that would be a miracle. You can imagine if you're a reader of, I'm going back and forth, but a lot of you are very intuitive and you're working on your intuition. To be a true intuitive person, your bias has to be out of the way. I'm still working on that, So what I got from this after the fact is, okay, so they're giving us, the universe giving us the true information, but I'm in my bias. I think about this. So am I really being a true, that true information coming in? But I'm listening to my bias, my monkey mind, what I want. So somebody who was in the comments said, could it be someone who's reading for a stranger and I don't really care about the outcome? How many times I'm focused on being right or having the right outcome? That's why some readers like to have cold readers, not cold reading. They like to not really know anything about the other person.
Right.
Because it's sometimes a little harder to read on ourselves or for our loved one. That's a miracle. If I could get to a level of being like the justice when it comes to being a reader, where I could be a vessel basically for the divine. So what do you think when you hear about that?
I think that's an interesting perspective because I'm going to take a slightly different spin on our biases.
Okay.
We all have them. I think what's
Yeah.
important is to know what we have and know how to adjust for those to get a balanced outcome with what's going on.
Right. It's important to know yourself. You're right. Because otherwise, how would you know?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I wanted to add that because that's how it ended last week.
It's
And
good.
and that made me go, oh, interesting. So you want to go right to 12, the hangman?
Well, I thank the people who are joining us. This is great. And if you don't forget to like and subscribe,
Oh, yes.
YouTube needs that. Also, as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance, really. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And how many people we have? We have 9. So I just want to let you guys know, because most of you are intuitive. And so as we're talking, if you already know what you want to add to it, please have it ready in hand so you can share with us.
Yeah, feel free to share. This is part of the conversation. So we're looking at the miracles in the next card. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Hi, Hershey. Yes. Making the rounds, doing all the YouTube things because we are simulcasting. So we were looking at the next card is the Hanged Man. So what's the miracle of the Hanged Man?
I mean, right off, yeah.
Go ahead.
Right off the bat, she's in enlightenment. So somehow she got to a state of enlightenment. I'm going for the obvious, because the hangman has so many different definitions. How, having a new perspective, a person who's unique and have a new perspective could come off as somebody who came up with solution, kind of like a miracle, came out of nowhere, but they're just like a very unique person. And enlightenment, which this is like in a bigger picture enlightenment, to achieve enlightenment after being stuck in your ways, it's truly a miracle. So what are you going to say?
Well, yes, with what you said. I also think that one of the things about the Hanged Man, one of the miracle aspects of this is not a quick process. And so if you've ever stood on your hands or stood on your head or hung upside down, blood rushes to your brains. I like to think about that is suddenly all of the blood is going to the brain so we can have some new cognitive behaviors, so we can think about some things differently. When the Hanged Man oftentimes shows up for me, it's time to let go of outmoded ways of thinking. It's not just a new perspective, it's let go of the outmoded ways so new ways can show up. So,
yeah. What I like about it is that even with the justice, you were saying that you saw it as knowing what your monkey mind is or whatever the bias is.
yes.
It's just important than just like kind of going, well, I just want to get to a state where I'm pure, which kind of grounds it a little bit. It grounds it instead of like trying like, and that goes with the hangman. Like the hangman is not just about getting to that space. It's about letting go after a long period of time, which is good for me to know because that grounding, that's more realistic.
Yeah, definitely. This is a sometimes the miracle is we're forced to think about things differently because we don't have a choice.
Yes, especially a person who's in a dungeon, right? No.
Yeah.
The fact that he survived that situation is miraculous. Simple as
That's
that.
true. That's true.
And making the choice to stay and hold the moment as long as it can, the long haul for the best outcome for all, not just your way.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, being stubborn could sometimes block us. So sometimes we have to see the full picture of things, or we're forced, like he said. And sometimes from that we see, oh, X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So should we go to the next card?
Let's do it.
You want to start?
Sure. Okay. Death is obviously it's an ending. I think the miracle about this is it's truly a transformation, and it's when I see death, I oftentimes go, oh geez, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, and I like to be in my comfort zone. So the miracle is what happens in Mother Nature. We go through the seasons. In fall, plants die, they go underground, and in the spring, they start to surface. So it reminds us of the cyclical nature of things. And it's a beautiful miracle.
Yeah, it's going to happen regardless. So,
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, new beginning, though, is a miracle, especially when you've been stuck in your own ways. Mm-hmm. Also, if you actually do pass on, apparently there's other world that, we hear about, that different dimension, or that's a whole miracle of being with the universe outside of our human self.
Sure.
Also, death is always about, like, reminding us to, I think you said it, but, like, going, like, it's kind of like an unknown thing. Like, you have to go with the unknown. Something have to end in order to. So that's like being comfortable with the unknown so you can get to the next thing. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And then Madam said it feeds new life.
Mm-hmm.
He said cycle of life. It's literally cycle of life.
Yeah.
A change must happen. You left yourself no option other than the cocoon needed for the change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and there's a lot of things that need to be transformed. And in the two cards that we have, they do definitely give a different perspective. This is a card where it's during the day. We see a big flag. That card is the enlightenment inside the person that isn't necessarily can be seen. And that one also is called death and rebirth. So there's always an evolution.
Yeah, what's interesting, when I don't remember an example, but when you see like new, not always necessarily younger people, but when they put a modern spin to the tarot, you get to see it so differently.
Yes.
I think one card I saw, I think it was, doesn't matter who, but the temperament was seen as a union card. So it's so interesting, like how to go beyond, the traditional sense of things.
Yeah.
So maybe that goes right with the death card. There we go. Like seeing the same, or seeing like something where you think it means differently, but it really means the same. It's just how you look at it. So,
Right.
Okay. The next card, number 14, is the temperament. So how do we see the miracle in this? Oh, this is a temperament. We could see it so many ways.
This is it's temperance. And what oftentimes happens is people mistake the idea of temperance with the temperance movement, where you're not drinking alcohol. But in fact, this is the alchemy card of the deck. This is the card of working hard and taking things that don't normally work together, putting them through a process so that they can be united and they can do something unexpected.
Yeah.
So,
and you see like a two different, like, I don't know if it's yin yang or polarity or whatever, how they work together.
yes.
Because otherwise the universe is stagnant, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It's all about movement. Also, if we're going to just go with literal, an angel, if you're working with the angel, it's always miraculous nature. That's angelic. Also, like with that foot in the water and one out, isn't there the expression on that?
Yes, because you're grounded, but you're also emotional. So I definitely think the miracle of this is This card, it's the witchcraft card of the deck. It's where you set your intention and these things show up.
You make it happen.
Yeah, you can make it happen. And, I think it can be very little ways that this can happen.
And let's go back to like how the miracle is from the fantastical to the mundane.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I shared this with him, but through his first video we did on Miraculous, a lot of it was about how the miracle was in the mundane. And to continue with the theme, like maybe like being in the woo-woo community. First of all, there is a lot of miraculous thing, but this idea of the miracle is probably just living life. You know what I mean? And so, like all that, I don't know how we get jaded or things become boring. Nothing really boring about it, which kind of goes with the temperament. There's always something going on, that it could revitalize something, re-energize to the same thing.
Yeah. This is, for me, this is oftentimes, I think of this is the sanding down of the rough edges through the process, and I get to adjust to them. But for me, the miracle of this is when this shows up in a reading, Sylvia, it reminds me that the person has to put this together in a way that is not expected, because the solution is already there. It just needs some very clear intention.
That's interesting, because you hear about that, like when the student's ready, the teacher comes, but the teacher always been there. Or you talk about the yellow, like how if we look at the room in front of us, look at the room, look left and right, and I'll say yellow. Okay, not too many yellow here, but I got the yellow from this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The yellow popping up from here.
Yes.
The yellow in his necklace. So many things are already in front of us that we don't notice.
Yes.
So that intention thing does matter. Like what kind of, so maybe like talking about miracles, let there be more for us, in regard to that.
And we may not understand what those miracles mean initially.
Right.
It's only after time passes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really powerful.
That's why they hear sometimes about blessing disguise, the terms like that. Yeah. So what do you want to bring up? Are you able to bring it up, Gerald, or no?
I can't bring up the chat, but
what are you seeing?
But it looks like Hershey added about the death card. Did we do that one? It says, in change must happen, you let yourself know, the one above that. You left yourself no option other than the cocoon needed for the change. And then right below that, in my opinion, the death card shows me that you put yourself in the bed you lay. And even under that, it's the earthquake. It's like, whoa, okay.
Right, because it's not always the tower. Could be seen within the death card. Yeah. Probably in a lot of different cards if we really think about it. Yeah. Even temperament maybe. And then Madam, she's getting into tempering, process of improving the characteristic of a metal. So things that are improving kind of goes with the solution thing. But she's really going by the temperature through the melting point. Which, you think about it, at one point they didn't know how to do that, and then suddenly you have all these people making sword and things like that, learning how to, it's like the mundane that, like I was saying, like the cell phone. I say this all the time. If you told us 25 years ago this cell phone gonna have ability to take pictures, see the satellite from, you can see from, it would have sounded so woo-woo, and in fact, it would have sounded like not something you could even like. It would have to be metaphysical, but it's not actually science. So sometimes, and like what else come to mind is how they have ghost hunters and stuff. They're now able, with the tools, with the camera and stuff like that, they're able to record the voice of the spirit. They're able to show them moving. So there's a lot of things what we think is woo-woo and miraculous, which it is. It gets really kind of mundane once it becomes like the new normal. So what else?
Well, and right under that one, it's cooling it, usually in air. The process has the effect of toughening by lessening brittleness and reducing internal stresses. So
That's amazing.
we oftentimes we learn things, and how we respond to them helps us to either become sharper and more intelligent, or brittle and broken. So I did see Pamela Batchelor showed up. Hello.
Hey, it just goes again, like how the mundane is so miraculous, like understanding how metal works. Or that's such a
Absolutely.
great point. When we look and really take time to see, we begin to really see all around us. Oh yeah, we were talking about the yellow.
Yep. And
Science
then
is magic. Yeah, go ahead.
science is magic. The one and Tortoiseshell Moon Kathy, hello, said, I love temperance, the art of embracing duality.
Mm. And duality is just a deep topic. It's still like I think it's one of those things you could be 200 years old, you still see it duality in a new way. You know what somebody told me? They said how consciousness is. So let's say we have a problem. Let's make this the basic. They're the problem. Now
Mm-hmm.
we want to change this problem. So we're on this level of consciousness and we want to change it. But as we grow, the same situation start looking different. We think that change, but it didn't. Our consciousness changed. And then
Yes.
as we grow again, now maybe the change because our energy changed. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. So this
Yes.
whole idea, like, this thing is still the same. This person no longer thinks this person is a grump because it had a different kind of understanding.
Yes.
So yeah, it's amazing. A lot of things are amazing. I don't know how
Well,
that popped
and
up.
yeah,
Maybe
well,
it's
I
like
think
a
it's
temperament. I don't
I
know.
yeah, well, and I think it's a really important thing, because when we focus our attention on something, we see it everywhere. It's the reticular activating system. There is science behind it. So
Mm,
it's really fascinating. So if we're stuck in our ways of thinking, instead of always learning, growing, and expanding, it's really, really important.
yeah, it's one
Um,
of those deep. It's probably those things
yes.
we could talk on
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
long time. So the next
Pamela
card is
said, hang on, before you take that, Pamela said, I also believe that our ancestors are always there waiting for us. We don't have to seek them out. We just have to slow down and quiet down to allow for the connection.
oh, there it is.
That's so, I mean, because imagine able to
Mhm.
access the energy of all of the ancestors. What would it be like? We if we were to access the energy of our ancestors more frequently and freely and listen, all that collective energy, it would be fascinating.
Yeah, you know what comes to mind with that? I was talking about this thing here. So let's say I'm in this level. My ancestors are gone. They're around us because we know that they're around us, whatever, but we don't see them, because we're
Mhm.
not trained that way. Some people call it veil, maybe the opening of the veil or whatever, but maybe the temperament. But then we're growing in consciousness. Now we're
Yes.
boo-boo. We kind of see them sometime. We know they're around. But they've
Yes.
been there the whole time, kind of like that yellow. They've been there.
Yep.
So maybe the veil's removed or whatever. Now because now we have the help of um, astrology. Now we're heading into a period of the Aquarian age and the Golden Age and all that. Everybody veiled, getting lighter. So suddenly, all these ancestors and divine beings that always been around us, they might have been right here, but suddenly we could see them. So,
Yes. Because our frequency has adjusted. I don't
yeah.
know about you all, but you all who are watching this, have you noticed in the last 5 years your frequency has adjusted? And let's just say your frequency has changed. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not putting a value judgment on it. I'm not
Right.
saying good or bad.
Right.
I'm just saying what you were thinking about 5 years ago is not what you're still thinking about. You're thinking differently.
Yeah, you just
So,
and everything's the same. The ancestors is the same. Maybe not. Maybe as we grow, they go. I don't know. But that's another deep topic. So
Yes.
you want to get to the next one? I think we were trying, but it didn't work out. Okay. So, the devil. How we see a miracle in the devil. That's interesting.
I think this is really interesting because one of the things that I appreciated about this, we don't actually see the devil per se, the devil personified.
Right.
However, the miracle in the devil for me is this is the card where faith and creativity grows,
Mm.
because we're in a struggle. In this card, the different aspects of ourselves are struggling, and we're pulling, and we can't see, and we're not able to get to where we want to go. So creativity and faith, I think, are grown out of the experiences with the devil.
And give more example. Give one example. What do you mean by that? Like, what's in your head with that?
Well,
Like creativity example. Like
well,
example of creativity.
and if I'm really struggling, and I'm caught up in my old ways of thinking,
Right.
I have to think differently in order to let this stuff go, to get out. So I have to be willing to put something down. I have to realize that, okay, I'm going to get through this. 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 And the traditional devil card, resisting temptation, would be a miracle. Good. But, and so the traditional devil, we see the devil behind with the wings, and then the lovers cards are right there. The two lovers. So, are these, let's say these are them, but now they're struggling because they've separated, they've compartmentalized, they've taken away. And so, how do you get creative? How do you go, we need to reconnect so that we can be on the same page? How do you have faith to get this? When stuff is hard, it's hard.
Yeah.
And
This thing, what
yeah,
came to my head, you know how they have that expression about the elephant at the circus, and the elephant, it's being, it's like what, 1,000 pounds? I don't know how much, and it always had that little chain around the ankle, and it think is stuck. But meanwhile, all the elephant had to do is pull that nail.
yep.
So the elephant is like, being in that devil situation. Something happened where it figured it out. So that creation thing that you talk about. So that is miraculous. I'm sure there's a lot of other factors. If you guys could share with us after the video live would be great. Cause that's why I did a recap on another night, which I'll
Yes.
do maybe Tuesday night. Cause sometimes I get more insight. But that idea about reminding us about the lover card
Yeah, I
and
mean,
how,
yeah,
yeah,
yes. And with the devil, it's just like it's holding us back. And how do you get through? Yes, I mean, and that devil is so tempting. It's going to say,
it's
come
about,
over and do this with me. Let me take you away from what it is that you need to do, because I'm going to be more fun. I'm going to be momentarily satisfying.
yeah.
But the reality of it is I have a friend who says, the only way to get through hell is to keep going forward. And in order to keep going forward, you have to have faith.
Yeah, it's funny because we're not going to go right to it, but the tower is breaking that. So the order of things matter too. Like it breaks
Mhm.
that. So somehow it got to that, and
Yes.
Gerald card where it finally got to be able to see the light somehow. Yeah, I mean probably so many different ways. Let's see. Pamela said, "Oh yes, for sure. A lot of it had to do with quieting down my life, and tarot opened the doorway when I recognized a certain voice. I seemed to know it immediately. Maybe that voice is that faith that he talked about that got them out of that bond.
Yeah. That's great.
Trust you
That's
will get through. Because one thing you taught me, Gerald, it's not always about that we're gonna get there. We're gonna all be pure, like going with when we started with the justice and the hangman. It's also recognizing what our challenging aspects are and still going forward
Mhm.
despite. So that
Yeah.
could be the miracle with the devil. Like we're not going to suddenly, like I'm not going to suddenly not want, chocolate and this and that. but I have to recognize and not go, oh, I'm free from it. But somehow I figured out a way to whether maybe eat it in moderation or
Yes.
whatever. So that's very interesting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And Hershey said the devil's in the details, and I agree with you, Gerald. It will never be behind you. And Peace Mama came in. Oh, and Joanne is like, a trust that you will get through. Peace Mama said, absolutely, the devil is holding back, no matter how tempting he may be. And the devil can make you stronger. It puts you into focus. What you do and do not want in life can strengthen your personal boundaries. Ooh, that's good, Kathy. That's good. And yeah. Oh, and Denise Fletcher Tarot is here. Hi, Denise.
So we're going back to that. Could you like that one?
I do like this one because the devil makes you stronger, because we have to have faith that we are going to get through it. And in order to change things up, we have to be creative. The old ways are not working. Things have to be different.
And you know what? Sometimes we all have the fuddy-duddy, and then we all have the sometimes the fuddy-duddy could be the scary person that judge you because they never had challenges. Where the person who went through a lot, devilish way, could be very understanding person. They come out, I get that building character kind of thing. And I know I remember hearing her share a lot of her story, and look how helpful she is with people now and things like that. So yeah, there's miraculous aspect to that.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's why we have that duality or the yin and yang. You need it or something.
Yes, there's always duality.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So because now they're in a chain, they broke it. So that's a miracle right there. They were able to break it through. So right off the bat.
Yes. I think one of the things that I feel like I'm talking too much. Tell me to stop. One of the things that is important with the miracle associated with the tower is the miracle is we can choose to be the tower, or we can choose to be the lightning. And that is all about perspective.
Inspiration, right? Inspiration.
Yes, inspiration. And when we have this flash of enlightenment, suddenly we go, okay, that stuff is no longer serving me, and something's got to be different.
Yeah, with that term, when they say, "Oh, that person, she really makes me think," that's the type of a card that it also could be like an orgasm card, and we know how that's miraculous. Woo! And when you have chemistry with another person, woo!
I would actually say the devil card does that, as well as the death card, the little death, the defeat merit or something like that. So.
That's why it's great. It's how you could each card can be seen in so many different ways. Also, what I learned through doing the tarot on my channel is it's some people consider this like the paradigm shift, and that's like amazing.
Yeah.
Could you bringing or a timeline shift? That could be miraculous.
Yeah.
I guess.
Jane the Seeker Tarot saw something, I think it's in the Sufi Tarot. The miracle of the tower is it is in the rubble that you are going to find the gems that have been hidden and buried deep.
Got to be broken through, right? You got to break through that wall. Get to the other side. Wow.
So, kudos
we are
to
shooketh.
Yes, sure. We are shooketh. Woo!
All right, let's see. I like that we can choose to be the tower, or we can choose to be the lightning. I never thought of that. That's a new one for me.
Well, and here's Jeffrey has said this is sometimes if we know we need to change and we're not changing, then we are the tower. If we know we need to change and we work on changing it, then we are the lightning.
I like that. Because that's why, we do get signs. Talk about the yellow. We get a lot of signs, but do we pay attention to it? And sometimes we get to a point where it's going to be the tower.
Yes.
It's time to move forward. And, you know. Okay, here we go with in my opinion, you don't have control when the tower shows up. When you had control with the death and the devil. Oh, interesting. You didn't act, and now life, it's just, you're going with what I just said.
Yep.
Now life had step and foundation be damned. Just like what's happening in the political realm without going to it.
Yep.
We didn't listen, and this is where we're at. Your grain of salt is there, I promise.
Your grain of sand. Your grain of sand is in there. Yes.
Right. There's a difference. Okay, clarity. And what else?
Oh, yeah.
The anchor for all to be found in rubble. So I really like that.
Yeah.
Like the two really about opportunity to shift. But then when you get to the tower, it's just like, but then I like what Gerald said, you can also be the lightning. I think it's not where you forced it. You just are. I think you're that type of person who are that. You know,
yeah,
like
go ahead. I also think that one of the things that's really important is where it falls in a reading.
Oh.
Is it in them? Is it in the it's coming up, something that's going to happen soon? Then, of course, depending upon your philosophy of tarot reading, mine is it's a snapshot in time. And if you know that a tower moment is coming, you can shift your energy a little bit, because as Hershey was saying, you ignored it in the death and the devil. It's coming up. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. And here, this is kind of like I go on a left field a little bit, but it's related. You know what it reminds me of? And this is the woo-woo part. Sometimes, the power of prayer, for example. I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But somebody knows there's going to be a disaster, some kind of natural disaster. So we were the type in society to pray. I mean, you hear scientists talk about this all the time, like the one that's into quantum physics. Imagine if we had 100,000 people that prayed about, this earthquake. I mean, maybe it would still been a 9, but what if we did the prayers? Because we know this is going to happen, it's not going to stop. Maybe when it went to level 6, I don't know. Also, we're warning, if you know there's going to be a hurricane, do you get out of the way? You're getting warning. You're going to get something's going to happen in your area. You better get out. Are you going to drive away, or are you going to stay in the house and be like Dorothy the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. Well, they have done scientific experiments about the power of prayer and the power of meditation and how that can change the energy of things. It's fascinating. We're not talking about that, but it's like, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Okay, what else?
The tower can be that catalyst for amazing changes that you never knew you needed. You wouldn't have chosen, but boy, are you glad it happened. Those
are the good way. What would be an example you could think of, Kathy? Yeah.
I'm gonna that's fan thwarp worthy, Kathy. You're right.
Love it. I remember when I first started tarot, you see like the tower and the devil and the death and all that. You're like, oh my God. But then as you get older and you learn, it depends on, like you said, depending on the context and things like that.
Well, I'll be really honest with you. The tower is the card that I don't like to see when it shows in a reading for me.
Yeah.
I can handle death. I can handle the devil. It doesn't bother me. But it's the tower that I go, oh, crap. What did I miss?
And, I have to say I learned to respect the tower, the path. Because I keep bringing politics, but without talking about politics. Everybody kept seeing the tower. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. If you see the same topic and then bringing up the tower, and then we really get the tower, take this card seriously. Maybe I didn't take it seriously. I either don't or I do. So you just brought up, like, no matter what, take it seriously.
Well, and I love what Hershey said there. As a shadow reader, depending on where it falls, I actually see this as a hope card.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah. You know what? I would love to do a video on that.
Here you go, Hershey.
Yeah.
If you're looking for content.
That would be great. I would watch that. Wouldn't you? I would. Okay, what's the next card?
Next
We're
card.
doing good with time.
We're doing
star.
great this time. Yes.
I
You
mean, right
start
off
with
the
the
bat.
star. Yeah, you start with the star.
Okay, right off the bat, it's about dreams and hope being met. Okay, so that's miraculous. Whether the mundane to the woo woo.
Mhm.
The star, it's all about connection with the universe. With the universe, it's miraculous. Looking
I
at it,
love that representation. It's very beautiful.
yeah. This illustrate. I mean, she not only did she create it, but she drew it.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I mean, you know how creative a lot of these tarot cards are. But
Yes.
usually it's like you have the creator and the illustrator. But the fact that she did both, that's amazing.
Yeah. Chris Ann has done very nice stuff.
And what do you want to add to that? Then I'll add more.
The miracle for me about the star card is that the miracles exist and miracles are on their way. So
That's nice. You're right. It's like you got hope, guys. Have faith. It's happening.
yeah,
Especially when you
yeah.
talk about placement. If you see at the last card, isn't that a good sign?
Oh,
Like
yes, I love that. It is also a card of as far as miracles. This is the card of miracles.
it's
Things are going to
right.
start showing up. They're going to help you, and you're going to be able to get it what it is that you need. I always refer to the star card as this is the universal blessing card. The universe is conspiring for your success.
Ooh, baby.
Go with it.
Yeah. A wish
Go.
upon a star.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a beautiful. That literally is. That could be a miracle. It is a miracle card.
Yeah.
Challenge accept. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
The miracle is being naked outdoors.
I know, not be self conscious and just be free. Oh man.
Mhm.
Or
I love that.
yep. Okay. The next card is the moon. So we go from the star to the moon. Now we're talking planetary. That's what comes to mind. So just the miracle between the star and the moon. I mean, but it had so many interpretations. So what's interesting, I know moon can mean like your crazy things, but also a creativity card, which is positive. So it depends how it's utilized. Kind of reminds me of the devil card. You got the devil. I never thought of the devil as the creativity, but you mentioned it. So now you have they're very different, but you have where it could be negative or it could be a creativity thing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The music card is it's it's a subconscious and conscious thing. I mean, so many aspects. The moon, the ability that the moon can make the ocean, rise and fall within
Yes.
a few hours. That's
Mhm.
how powerful that, like something like that, being close to the earth could really, literally. And
Yeah.
she said, trusting in the seen and the unseen, and
The unseen and the unknown. I think for me, the miracle of this is it reminds me of the importance of cycles and to honor our natural cycles.
Right, because that's what it is. It is being on planet Earth.
Being on planet Earth, having an instinct,
Mm-hmm.
that's the miracle of this. It says this is receptive energy. Trust your instincts. Things are cyclical. Trust it. Trust it. Trust it.
It's funny, like moon really has so many meaning to it. The moon itself is a miracle. It's a perfect satellite to our planet needs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hi,
even like
Amanda.
the sun. The sun makes you know if you're like a really knows where to go left, west, or east, and all that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The miracle also is sometimes we need to be domesticated and sometimes we need to be wild. Because we have the wolf and then we have the dog. The miracle about that is going, hey, remember that.
Yeah, it's one of those things you look at the card and you kind of get lost into it. I mean, the miracle is like I get so focused in my mundane little me, And then you look up the sky, you're like, oh yeah, the earth is literally in the middle of the universe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I constantly don't think about that. And then you look, it's like just an everyday thing, but we're literally in the middle of the earth. I mean, we're middle of the universe.
Yeah.
That's like, woo. It's just a great reminder at nighttime, along with the sun and all that. So
Yes.
let's see. She
And
is
this is
naked and
related
vulnerable.
to the star. She's naked and vulnerable, but protected and safe, protected by the stars. Her way forward will be lit up and shown to her.
And you
Nicely
know
said.
what? If you're in the dark, you have the shadow, and you could be naked. That could be a whole other thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, what else we have? We have the sun. Okay, another planetary thing. That's a miracle. The sun, what
Mm-hmm.
it does, it grows food. It gives us vitamin D. So many things. Also, the sun is also about a person being enlightenment. So if we got to a
Yes.
state where we become transformed in enlightenment, which is something I feel could happen for all people, like in
Mm-hmm.
a advanced society. I don't think it's just for the few. So enlightenment in itself is a miracle, especially for a human being, because even though we get to enlightenment, there's always something after it, because the universe is infinite. No getting there. But as a
Oh,
human
sure.
being to be in enlightenment is amazing for
Mm-hmm.
that. So that's a miracle. What are you getting?
I think the miracle for me of this is simply the power of the light and the ability to see things that were hidden. We may
Right.
not like the things that we're seeing that were hidden, but they're there. The miracle of is boy, this is high noon surrounded by mirrors, and it just reflects and bounces light on everything.
And the warmth of life, right? It grows thing, but also like what is hidden, you're right, had to be shown.
Yes.
Kind of like when we do spiritual bypass, sometimes we want to like avoid this, but we have
Yes.
to see what Gerald been reminding me. It's okay to see it. That way you could get to this.
Yes.
Otherwise you'll just not know. Oh, cool. What do you got? Oh, we got yep, just simple as the miracle of warmth and life. Otherwise it'd be
Oh
frozen.
yeah. Yes. Yes.
And positive card for inner self because I have found the light within. Oh, that's amazing.
Ooh, nice.
Simple. It's amazing.
Yes.
Especially after the devil, like dealing with the shadowy work and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So nice.
Yes, I love
And
that.
after the winter, the winter month where it gets dark by 4 o'clock, I
Oh
embrace when the daylight gets longer. Simple that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a photo
So
of my oh, that's nice. I
what
love
you
that Robin Wood sun. I have a photo of me age 8 in the 80s on the log flume ride, pulling the same face, unfiltered exhilaration. I love that.
be can you imagine being a kid like that, childlike? Like I was saying, like I remember watching cartoon as a kid. Everything seems so vibrant. Now I do watch it now because nowadays you have animation, but
Mm-hmm.
that vibrant go away. It's really interesting, like
Yeah.
the miracle of being that childlike and seeing everything with fresh set of eyes. Now I'm getting a little poetic.
Absolutely.
This is
That's
like
simple.
poetry, so wonderful. Yeah,
There you
miracle.
go. There you go.
So anything else you guys want to add before we go further? No, you guys been honest, so thank you very much. You've
Yes.
been right. So the next one, we have two more. The judgment. So after we have the moon, the unseen and seen, we have the judgment. Now what? Now the choices.
Mm-hmm.
So choices coming to mind because judgment, it could be a discernment in a good way, or it could be a negative thing.
Oh
But it's
yes.
also like, what are you going to do with it? Judgment day, like kind of like, well, it's so deep, but I have to remember miracle. So how is a miracle? The fact that there is enlightenment happening or liberation That's a miracle, because obviously something was making you feel not free. You are liberated. It's a card of liberation.
Yes.
Maybe just having a conversation with somebody, a little conversation could make you feel liberated because you guys kept it in. You never talked about it. Doesn't have to be a dramatic, the Bible liberation
Yeah.
message. What you're getting.
The miracle about judgment is of this card has a calling with it. It encourages us to do something beyond ourselves. There's a
The
calling
calling.
to a larger perspective. What is it that we can do? And I think that's great. I think that's a wonderful thing, especially because in this card, this is the phoenix rising from the flames. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, it's the angel from heaven with a trumpet, calling up, raising those who
Which
passed.
which is the miracle in itself, because they're getting liberated. They're
Yes,
not, some believe
exactly.
that you don't go to heaven right away. I guess you're in a tomb. You're in your until one day they take you. So that would be, yeah. Let's see, what does her say? Taking action on our own ownership of the work and preparation we have made toward those that don't know the new us. Therefore, we won't judge our new self as they judge our past self. That's why sometimes people who had challenges are end up being more somebody you want to be around, because they're gonna be less judgy. They understand because they've seen a lot.
Yes.
So past judgment, right? I mean,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yes.
judgment could be very scary as well, like the pitchfork or
Absolutely.
ruining your career because they said stuff about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a miracle. But the other side could be like redemption. Isn't the judgment a redemption card?
There is judgment the redemption card. I don't necessarily see it as redemption. I do see it as discernment, where we're able to make appropriate choices.
Yeah, because
So
let's say somebody led a very challenging life and then they straighten up. There's a liberation to that. So, like the thing here, liberating. But it could be miraculous. I get Phoenix, right? I get coming from one thing to another. So,
yeah.
yeah. All
Taurus
right.
Moon Kathy is the Robin Wood judgment pulling Rockstar hands? Yes, they are.
Nobody does that anymore. 'Cause everybody's like this, There's no more peace. Well, it's still rock, but it's more like this now.
Mm.
It's hard. Isn't it funny how each decade have a different kind of
Oh
hand
yeah,
thing, depending on the energy? Because the 70s were like this, right? What was the 70s? And then, or peace, 60. I don't know, but
yeah.
each decade
No,
changes.
yeah.
I know this started like the last decade or so.
And Robin Toadstool Tarot says, I see judgment as the reflection card. Yeah. And it's the reflection about the really big and significant things.
Right, because it's a major arcana, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
makes it a little different than, let's say, a minor card. Yeah, yeah. That's why it's like major. Like when you get 5 in one deck, like 5, you're like, holy moly, there's something going on. So the next card is the last, but not the least, the world. So we know the world alone right there, the miracle. You got the whole world in your hand, or their unity. This could be like what do you call that? What is that when people think, oh, not nirvana, but like that kind of vibe? I mean, that would be amazing. You can find, nirvana within your own home.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be like outside. Finding
Yeah.
your own haven, that's miraculous. The world, like getting to travel, that's amazing. Also, the internet allows you to make everything smaller. Cause you can have access to everything. The
Yes.
satellite, we could see what's going on in another country within our own internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all these signs, so they all have. I don't know I know these are sacred geometry, but I don't know what they represent. But I know, like in traditional world, they all have a meeting. So
Yeah.
what do you? So I get the world is just what I'm looking. It's like nirvana. It's like what do we all wish for? What it's a word with a U. It's same as your nirvana.
Utopia.
Utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
for me, I think the miracle about the world is, this is, I have reached my potential and I'm
yeah.
leaping through, and I'm going to do it all over again so that I can continue to reach forward. When I see the world card, this is very much a, boy, um, you can do it. You can do it. There's great opportunity ahead of you, and you can do it again, and you can eliminate things that didn't work before.
Yeah, and you know what I think of? Like education. You start out the fool, and then by the time you finish college, you finish that
Mm-hmm.
cycle of when it comes to education, unless you take more after that. So
Yes.
that's like completing the education system or anything, like completing what your goal is. Like you said, you can either start over or continue to the next thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
even like tarot, you get to a certain point and then you can start over. You become a student again, seeing things fresh about the tarot, like the Fool. So
Yes.
okay,
Well, and some people, there's a philosophy that the major arcana ends with the fool rather than beginning. So you have the world, and then the cycle starts over.
mm. Oh, I like that. That's even better. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. There's some great chat.
I think I have heard that, but now it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Oh, sure.
That's why it's like why 0 to whatever. Okay. On my world, it shows the ruler hatching from an egg.
Nice.
Actually, okay. The stop and celebration card for you to take the tool, the confident to make the best decision for the next step. I see the world as questioning, and then the world could be like also a president or prime minister type of thing.
It could
NATO.
be. Yeah, it could be. I see the
I see
world
the world. Go ahead.
as questioning what is my place in the world, and where should I be? Have I done what I needed to do to get here? And how do I relate to others that exist here with me?
You
Yep.
know, when you travel, they say like you see the type of people who they don't travel, and then when they do travel, they have a way about them. Could you see things bigger? That's
Yes.
kind of miraculous in nature. Even like communicating with people on YouTube with people from all over. I have a tarot deck where it starts with a full, it ends with the world, oh, the fool. It ends
Mm-hmm.
with the world, and then the very next card is called the wanderer, and then the suit begins and the fun. Oh,
Interesting. Yeah, the fool.
I'm kind of curious, like how the tarot will continue to evolve. You know, with people getting more creative with it, what they're
Mm-hmm.
adding to.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
new comment.
She meant
I
the
think
fool.
that's it, right?
Yeah, she went the fool. Yep. I love it.
So, this is really, really cool. So that is just us working on the major arcana, seeing with our intention. Intention is everything. How if you had the time, you could probably do how I could see the miracle in all 78 cards. That would take a long time.
Uh,
But
yeah.
and then another context is to add, you have this and then you add a card to it. It would then how it is that the reader would give you a little more context what it is. So we're kind of
Yes.
going with the general, but when you add kind of goes with the justice card. We
Well,
would
and it is something that you can add to the list of things when you're doing a reading to consider. What are these cards telling me? What are the miracles that are apparent in these 5 cards, these 10 cards, something along those lines? What is it that shows up? And
right.
when we focus on things, we see more of them.
That's true. Because if I'm putting that intention, okay, whatever's in front of me is a miracle, then I'm going to read it that way. Because if I take it literal and I'm like, oh, this is the devil and this, I would get distracted and go with like, oh, it's a devil card, whatever. But when you create that intention, so what did you get from this, Gerald? Maybe I'm going to tell you after what I got from it, like doing this last 2 videos.
I got from this the importance of sharing this, my perspective, with people. It gives them permission to share their perspective with me, and it gives me more information. So
Yeah,
this is wonderful.
I did too. That's pretty similar. Let's see. It's 1 card for each year of life. You learn that lesson. By the time you're a legal adult, you're ready for life. Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's right. The Fool too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great reminder. I have a problem with only seeing the majors at the life big issue. Every day, the micronism of the big issue in life. True. The mundane. We are all living big issue every day. Our lives are major.
Yes,
That's
and
the
that's
perspective there. The hangman or the tower,
it
right
is
there.
the perspective of taking the mundane and making it magical.
That's one thing. That's one thing I'm getting constantly reminded again. It would seem to be a theme about how the miracles are the mundane is the miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if I was really listening from within, because here we are, we're kind of reading the collective. But if I was reading for me with 1 card, then I would have to really tune in what the spirit guide tells me, and would be more specific.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of goes to the glimmer. If you're not into doing the glimmer, writing down this, you could use the Major Arcana. Go, okay, what's my glimmer for today? And you pick one. So yeah,
I agree with Robin. You can do great readings with just the Major Arcana. Robin does that a lot. He has tarot deck that's just the majors.
Oh,
I have several majors only decks. It's an interesting way to look at it, and it certainly could elevate the mundane things to a different level, a connected level.
that's true. Because if I'm going, okay, how is it going to be for me?
Yeah.
With school or work or whatever, and then you pick one of the Major Arcana with the intention of miracle. It could be simple as, oh, if it's the devil, it could be like, oh, maybe there's something challenging going on, but look at how you could get past it, like you were talking about getting to the. So I was like, oh, I would never thought of it that way, just directly like that, because that's the intention. I have to see the miracle of that card.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Hershey said, I need to get a majors only deck. I've got a tip for you, Hershey. Take a tarot deck that you have and take out the majors, and then you have 2 decks. You have a majors only deck, and then you have a minors only deck.
And if you really want to play, you have 4 decks. Take all the majors and play with each other. Can you imagine you get a moon, a devil, and a moon? What would that mean? That'd be like.
Hey, Robin, Toadstool Terror, if you're still here, have you ever done readings with minor only deck? I'm curious about that, because the majors really are archetypes. So, and the minors are the archetypes in the daily life, so to speak. So
I don't know if she's here, but that's a good
I don't
question.
know. It's an interesting. I was just thinking about that. I've seen you do readings with majors only, but have you?
Is that her told?
I have,
Robin?
though. I usually use Lenormand in place of minors. Okay.
I think if you really, anything could be possible if you think about it. It's all about the intention.
Well, and that's the miracle of it, Sylvia. Is what's your intention? What your intent? The miracle is that your intention for how you're reading is what's going to show up in your reading.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you have any other things you want to add or comment to us, please let us know. Tell us what you got from it. That's what I would like to hear, what you got from it. And that's it. Let's continue to see and experience miracle, even with things that are challenging, but see in a different way, where it's able to, kind of like the shadow work, but you also could see the bright out of, the bright light out of that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I said it right, but you get the major.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So take care and enjoy your week.
Thanks, everybody.